One book I've been studying a lot lately is The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, which is one of the most popular business books of all time. If you haven't read the book or are not familiar with it, he discusses what he calls a fatal flaw for small businesses, also known as the entrepreneurial myth. It's a false belief that says if you understand clinical work, you also know how to build a business that does clinical work. And as you'll see in this video, that assumption couldn't be further from the truth. And we'll also discuss the solution. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Adam Corin, founder of The Dividend Dentist. And here on this channel, my goal is to help you achieve true financial independence and time freedom with passive income. So let's get started. So in the book, The E-Myth, Michael Gerber explains that most people who start small businesses do so for the wrong reasons. They think they're entrepreneurs when they're really not. As he puts it, most people who start their own small business do so simply because they want to work for themselves and not have a boss, meaning they want complete autonomy and control over their business. But he also states that this is the worst thing that most individuals can do for one main reason, and that is that instead of creating a passive system that runs without them, they create a job for themselves, one that contains more debt, more responsibility, and more stress. And although we'll be discussing dentistry for the sake of today's video, this also applies to any other healthcare field or industry. So you first need to understand Gerber's framework that he discusses in the E-Myth. The book talks about three main roles in every small business: the technician, the manager, and the entrepreneur. So let's start with the technician. Think of this person as the clinician or the doer. This person typically believes that a better business and better quality equals more effort. Then we have the manager, who focuses on business policies, scheduling, and overall efficiency. And lastly, we have the true entrepreneur. This person designs systems and thinks about scale. They may ask themselves the question, how can I create a business system that runs without me? As you can see, most dentists and other high-income professionals are primarily technicians, meaning that they primarily tend to focus only on the clinical aspect of their job or practice. But over time, this can ultimately lead to burnout and situations to where the clinician or practice owner builds a business and a job for themselves that depends entirely on them. Specifically in dentistry, we can see this problem no matter the role of the clinician. Meaning if you're an associate dentist, your only roles in your job are that of a technician. This can drive many of these individuals to pursue practice ownership. But owners also fall into the same boat. They're just technicians with higher debt and higher responsibility. Lastly, specialists can sometimes be higher paid technicians, but again, this comes with more responsibilities. So as you can see, whether you're an employee or a small business owner doesn't really matter for the sake of our discussion. If all of your income depends entirely upon you doing the technical work, you're functioning primarily as a technician, not a true entrepreneur. But now comes the fun part. Let's talk about the solution to this entrepreneurial myth. As Gerber says, no matter the business or industry, build the business as if you're going to franchise it. Gerber often uses McDonald's as an example in many of the lectures he gives to explain this concept. He often references the movie The Founder about Ray Kroc, the businessman who built McDonald's into the fast food empire that it is today. In case you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. But both Gerber and the movie discuss the secret to McDonald's success. McDonald's doesn't cook the best hamburger, they have the best system. As Gerber explains, Ray Kroc didn't work in the business of McDonald's. He didn't even have to hire the most highly educated or the most competent individuals. Instead, he worked on the business and turned it into a system that anyone could follow. Think about it like this. You can go to McDonald's anywhere in the world, and you know exactly what you're going to get, meaning that the products, the systems, and the service are the same no matter where you go. The secret to this can be summed up in one word: scalability. The system created consistency, which created scale, which created wealth. So now, let's discuss how we can apply E-Myth style thinking in three different ways for both dentists and other high-income professionals. The first option is to build a systems-driven dental practice, or what I like to call the dental entrepreneur. This means that well-documented systems and protocols are in place for every aspect of running the dental practice smoothly. Dentists who follow this path can often create a practice or multiple practice locations that run without them, to where they hire the right team of associate dentists and hygienists to run the practice for them. But as you can imagine, this path can be very time-intensive, capital-intensive, and people-heavy, and requires a lot of leadership. Then we have option number 2, building a media or education business, or what I like to call the content entrepreneur. This is where you turn your knowledge into systems through things like books, courses, platforms, and content. This YouTube channel is a good example. As a side note, while we're on the topic of books and content, if you're interested, I highly encourage you to check out my new book, The Passive Practice Path, built for dentists and other high-income professionals who want to start building cash flow outside of the workplace. I'll post the link in the description below. And lastly, we have option number 3, where you stay clinical, primarily as an associate dentist or a practice owner. But instead of scaling the business, you scale and systematize your investing. This is what I like to call the investor entrepreneur, and is the primary goal of this channel. So lastly, let's talk about the real question. If you stopped working tomorrow, would your income drop to 0? If you answered yes to that question, you're still a technician. This isn't wrong, but it's also not scalable. You see, most people don't fail because they're not skilled. They fail because they never stop being technicians. So in closing, clinical excellence builds income, but systems build freedom. And ultimately, if you don't design systems, you'll always be the system. Your goal should be to work on your business, not in your business. If you like today's content, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. And drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear about your plans for building systems that operate without you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.